name is Mark Anthony with Edge on Regenerative Medicine Show. I'm excited about today because I have a special guest, Dr. Andy Barlow, DC. And everyone, please, in internet land, sharing is caring. Remember, one video can change one person's life, even though if you're not in pain. And not only that, this video is also specifically for chiropractors, my chiropractor friends. We have Dr. Andy Barlow, DC, who's also a neurologist. I always like to say / chiropractor. That's how I always write things. So speaking in computer robotics. But with that being said, we have something really special that my doctor friends on the internet need to see. We're going to be talking today about why chiropractors need Trigenics right now for their business. Now, I've been working with Dr. Andy Barlow for a couple of years now and have been to his seminars. And these are some of the most, I would say, intense learning seminars that are changing, changing chiropractors' lives. I've been to quite a few of these seminars, and every time a doctor is learning from Dr. Andy Barlow, when we're having lunch together, they're like, I see that he's changing these people's lives, but he does it. It looks so easy. Yeah. So we're going to be talking about that. Dr. Barlow is out of Tupelo, Mississippi. And if you would like to get more information, you can go to afniseminars.com and also afniseminars.net. And you can also sign up for his seminars that he has. And he has doctors around the world, country, however you want to say it. Yep. I've met them. They're from different areas, parts of the world. So nonetheless, Dr. Andy Barlow, welcome.
Well, Mark, thank you very much for having me here. And it's always an honor to be here with you and coming to my seminars. It's always great to have you here and just enjoy the time that we spend together. And so it's, if I may, I can also give doctors my personal cell phone number, and that way they can call me if they have any questions.
We'll have it right on the bottom.
Okay. And so it's 662-231-2236, and it's going to be down there at the bottom of the page as well. And so and sometimes, I just want to be a personable consultant. I want to be available to people, to doctors who have questions that want to enhance the quality of patients' lives, from frozen shoulder to knee pain to peripheral neuropathy. Those are my major niches, because the reality of it is, in most situations, they're just so doggone easy to fix. And you can, with shoulder pain, with frozen shoulder and knee, I mean, these patients are going to know within 2 visits if you're going to be able to help them. And to know that you're going to be able to help somebody, you can rule them in or rule them out for care, and to get paid an incredible, fee to do that, because, there's no longer a need for somebody to come in. I'll give you an example. I had a lady come in, and she's on YouTube. She went to a physical therapist, and there's a time and a place for that. I'm not busting on anybody. I'm just letting people know. She went to a physical therapist 2 hours a day for 18 visits, and this is as far as she could pick her arm up. After 18 visits, she couldn't pick her arm up any further. After 18 visits, 36 hours of therapy. And she's in one of my exam rooms. I take a video. She gives her testimonial. I turn the camera up to the clock, come back, hit pause, and then 4 minutes later, she's got full range of motion. It's about, if you can change somebody's life that quickly, then there's a fee for service for that. They're not paying for my time. They're paying for my knowledge. I can't remember. Maybe it was Rembrandt. Don't quote me on this, but there was an artist one time. He was sitting down and at a coffee shop. It wasn't Starbucks, but he was sitting there, and he goes, "Oh my God!" The lady noticed him, and she's like, "Would you just draw like a sketch of, a portrait of me?" And he goes, "Yeah, sure." And it took him probably 2 or 3 minutes to do it. He just drew it out on a napkin, and he goes, "That'll be whatever, $20,000 or whatever." She goes, "Oh my gosh, it only took you 3 minutes to do it." And he goes, "No, ma'am, it took my entire lifetime to do it. So that's what people are paying you for is, yeah, and all the knowledge and the years of studying that I've done. And thank goodness for, I'm not going to say the first one, but I mean, I'm one of the first ones to kind of blaze this trail here. And it took me years to figure out ways to be able to do a weekend seminar and train doctors in 20 hours how to fix a frozen shoulder, not just shoulder, but neck, shoulder, hands. And again, if you can solve this problem in a matter of minutes, how much is that worth? Because see, it's like a combination lock. I use this a lot. If I had a combination, if I had a safe over here, and that safe had $1 million in it, and I go, if you can crack the code, you can have the money. You may never crack that code, but then if I go, here's the code, and I give it to you, in a matter of seconds, you can go over here and then open it up and take the money. So that's kind of the thing that we do with Trigenics. We've already figured out these codes on how we activate muscle spindles and Golgi tendon organs to literally get this full range of motion within minutes of these people. And they're going to pay you $4,000 to $5,000 for this program, and you literally won't have to see them but 2 times, and then you just give them home therapy, and that's it. So, and I know that's kind of a shock to some chiropractors because they're used to seeing somebody for $35, $45 a visit sometimes. They're used to seeing them 3 times a week for 6 months. And there's no point in doing that. Not with frozen shoulder. Knees are a little bit different, but the point is you can still see results with knee pain in 2 visits. Now, again, have I helped every frozen shoulder patient? Nope, I haven't. And the ones that I haven't, again, the way it works is they pay me, okay, and then I get 2 visits. The good news is that we're talking 98, 99% of the people that come in here, they're going to get the results. So see, when you get those kind of results, I don't like giving a refund back, because if I have to give a refund back, that means that I didn't have an opportunity, or I had the opportunity, but I wasn't able to improve the quality of that person's life because they walked out just like this, the same way they walked in. But the difference is I didn't charge them for that. So, and I figure if I'm taking all the risk and all the responsibility, then you're going to pay me up front. You can write a check, put it on a credit card, get care credit. And if I can't solve this problem, get a refund. And on top of that, I have, and you know, Mark, because you put a lot of them up, I've got tons of videos on people with frozen shoulder before and after. I had one lady that came in. She had surgery at, I think it was C4, 5, and 6 or something like that, but it was in 3 vertebrae. And I was like, well, I just told her, I said, I don't know if I'm going to be able to help you or not, but the way the system is set up is you pay me up front. If we don't get results, then we don't take you as a patient. So I worked on her this is a difficult case, but I worked on her longer than 4 minutes. And I'm just like, man, I may have to give her a refund. She comes back in the next day and she goes, here, look at this. And she raised her arm completely over her head. And I'm like, yeah, I knew I was going to do that. So, but most of the people that come in, I've got a questionnaire that I have patients answer over the phone, because now there's certain questions. If you can't raise your arm up to 90 degrees, okay, if you can't externally rotate your arm, or if you can't put your hand in your back pocket, probably I'm not going to be able to help you. But I tell patients, if you want to come in and give it a try, that's what I'm here for. So doing this for years. There's just times when, that I'm, nobody's going to be able to help everybody. Am I always striving to help everyone? Yes, absolutely. But, at least, and I don't apologize when I don't help people, except I'm sorry that I couldn't improve the quality of your life. But I don't go out. I actually tell patients when I can't help other patients. Imagine that. Because I've had, knee pain patients that's come in and I've told them I hadn't been able to help them. And it's a powerful thing when you walk into an exam room and say, I hope that I can help you, because this last guy that was here, I couldn't help in 2 visits, and I didn't accept it for care. And all of a sudden, people aren't worried about the money. They're not worried about anything except, man, I hope this guy can help me. And the good news is It's not like it happens a lot. But the beautiful thing is knowing the ones you can help and accepting them, and then the ones you don't, then, you know, we just shake hands. This is what I tell patients all the time. If we don't see those results in 2 visits, it's, you know, we're still going to be acquaintances. I'm still going to be your friend. If I see you at Walmart, I'm still going to say hi. We're going to shake hands. You know, it's not something to be avoided. It's just like, I'm just not the guy who can help you with that. But the good news is, with virtually everyone that comes into your clinic, you know, you will be able to help.
So how did you come up with that? I've never, come up with, you know, we can't help you, you get your money back. I've never heard of anybody doing that.
It wasn't something, it was actually a process that I went through. And it was after Dr. Olo Austin out of Toronto is the one that actually invented trigenics. And with me being a board certified chiropractic neurologist, I actually went to one of his seminars, and I'm like, oh, neurologically, this is how this works. So I understood it neurologically, so I wasn't completely lost with the neurological side of it. So what happened is when I came back from the seminar, it was 1 or 2 weeks. I mean, I came in, we were marketing for frozen shoulder. People were coming in for frozen shoulder. And then I would treat them, and then I would tell them what the fee is, and then I'd fix them, and then they just kind of mysteriously disappeared. They never would come back. So I realized real quickly that when you fix somebody, they're not going to come in and pay you $4,000 or $5,000. So, but see, there was no business model for that. Okay. So then I learned, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have patients pay up front, and then we fix their shoulder. And then after a while, I just realized, I'm like, well, what's the point of seeing these people 48 visits or 24 visits with frozen shoulders when typically they don't want to be in here? And see, think about it like this. You're able to throw a wider net when people don't see you but 1 or 2 times. You know, people have to come into your clinic 3 times a week for months. You know, your radius of exposure is going to be greatly reduced, because it all has to do with time and how much time a person has, and can they drive to your clinic 45 minutes one way, come in 4 times a week. They're going to spend an hour in your clinic with all the therapies they're going to do, and then drive back home. And so if you can solve a person's problem with their shoulder in 2 visits, again, I mean, I've had, you know, the furthest that I've had so far is a guy from Vancouver, British Columbia, who flew down here and spent $14,000 out of his own pocket in Canada, which is an anomaly, because in Canada they have free health care. And so, and he had spent, of course, I think he even says it on the video. I mean, I shot the video a long time ago, but he spent $14,000 out of pocket. And he calls me up and he says, well, you know, and I said, well, you'll have to pay me up front. If I can't solve your problem, if I can't fix this shoulder, I'll give you a refund. And he said, well, what happens if I fly there? And I said, well, you can, you know, Elvis Presley's right up the road. You can go to his, his birthplace. But again, he didn't have a problem with it, because he'd already spent $14,000, and he knew coming here that if I couldn't solve the problem and fix the shoulder, then he would just be out of flight, and he could still go and see Elvis and go back home. So all he was out was basically a flight and 2 nighs hotel.
But he wasn't out anything, if you think about it. He wasn't out anything, because he gave, $14,000, $18,000 to some other doctor, and they didn't.
And didn't do anything. So, and so, and then, I mean, this is just over and over. I had another lady, she came in, it's another one of those, she'd had the problem for 10 years, thoroughly convinced that nothing could be done. And then fixed her shoulder. She's crying right there on the video. And because again, when people, especially if it's your right hand and your right hand dominant, or if it's your dominant side, this could be devastating, because everything from here up doesn't exist in that world. Okay. And the amazing thing that's about this, Mark, is, and this is when I give my seminars, this is what I want people to understand is if you have a frozen shoulder, all the muscles that are associated with bringing your arm up from 90 degrees to 180 degrees, the half-life of protein is 6 to 10 days. So what does that mean in English? That when you stop moving a body part within 14 days, those muscles will atrophy.
Wow.
Now, research has already been done on this, so it's not even up for debate. But whenever your muscles atrophy, like your right shoulder, that will cause your right cerebellum and your contralateral frontal lobe and parietal lobe. It actually atrophies with the muscle. Okay, so when people have these types of problems, bad shoulders, bad hips, bad knees, and you look at their X-rays and they're degenerated. If you could actually take a picture of their brain that represents that part of their body is as degenerated as what you're seeing on the X-ray.
Mm-hmm.
But see, that's the doctor's responsibility to communicate that with the patient.
Right.
The level of degeneration you have in your joints is the same level of degeneration you have in your brain that's represented. If you look at the homunculus, and I know most doctors aren't familiar with the homunculus, especially if you're not a chiropractic neurologist. But if you look at the homunculus, it's like a map. It's like, you look at the map of the USA and you go, Mississippi's here, Texas is there. We know where everything is.
Right.
Well, you have a homuncular map, left brain, right brain, and there are certain things in certain areas of your brain. And so we know where Mississippi is. We know where Texas is. We know where Oregon is. So because we pull out the map and we go, well, that's where it is. Now, so again, your knee's represented in your brain in this little medial wall, and then that medial wall is degenerated if you're not moving that body part correctly. So again, it's not just a bad joint, it's the cerebellum and brain that's associated with that. And then now, kind of speaking a doctor's language, now since our frontal lobe is not functioning properly, it can't inhibit our limbic system. So now people kind of they kind of have these fear and anxiety and these panic types of syndromes,
right,
just because they got a bad shoulder. So, and again, it takes me a weekend to explain all of this and draw all these neurological pathways out so patients or doctors can go, yes, it's not just his shoulder, but it's this whole cascade of events going on neurologically.
Oh, wow. So with that being said, your seminars, how does that work? How long is the seminar?
Well, one of the things, my seminars are Friday, Saturday, and a half a day on Sunday. Mm-hmm. And it's broken down into two halves. We have what I call the upper or cervical, mm-hmm. shoulder, mm-hmm. Elbow, and carpal tunnel. And the mainstay with that is going to be shoulder. Okay. And again, I couldn't tell you how many people have had radiculopathy, and which is you got problems with your neck, shooting pain down into your arms, or people that come in with carpal tunnel syndrome and they actually don't have carpal tunnel. There's an entrapment in here. Actually, just so doctors just kind of whet their appetite just a little bit. If you have numbness in the hands and the brachial plexus, which are C5, 6, 7, 8, and T1, they come out of your neck. Those can be entrapped in your scalenes, which we have a specific protocol for releasing that. In your costoclavicular area, and mark your clavicle right here, and underneath that's your first rib, and those nerves can get entrapped there. The pec minor. So there's certain ways we have to test that and then treat that. And then here's what's important: once you get out of this brachial plexus, each one of the peripheral nerves, your median nerve, your ulnar nerve, and your radial nerve, each one of those can be entrapped in your arm in specific areas. So we have to know how to release those. Mm-hmm. And see, and I'm not busting on anybody. I'm just saying, if you just look at the spine, just think about this. If we just look at the spine, and that's one area of entrapment, but each one of these peripheral nerves can be entrapped in 6 different places through here. This is scientific research. This is not even up for debate. So, and if we're just keep looking at the spine and we don't know all of these areas, then what happens, a patient comes in and they're not getting better, and then we have to refer them out, or we have to stop seeing them because they're not getting results. And nobody is showing you how to actually identify these entrapment sites to solve this problem. Uh, so, so again, those are the things that I do at the seminar. So that's Friday, Saturday, and a half a day on Sunday. It is in Tupelo, Mississippi. Most people, when they come in, they fly into Memphis and then they just drive down. It's like 90 miles away. When people come to the seminars, it's, you just don't come to the seminar. We go to lunch together, we go to dinner together. So it's a whole festive event. And so we can all powwow and brainstorm. And yes, you will be able to fix a frozen shoulder Monday morning when you leave. So here's what I'm going to challenge. I would challenge the doctor to do is before you come to my seminar, okay, and I actually have one coming up in 2 months, I believe, for frozen shoulder. Here's what I would do. I would actually either have Mark, market frozen shoulder before you even come to the seminar, because that's what I did. Before I even went to the seminar in Toronto, I actually had the newspaper already running the ad the next Monday after the seminar. We're talking 5 or 6 years ago, and because I already knew I was going to know how to fix a frozen shoulder, so I'm going to run the ad. So when I get back from the seminar, I'm going to be able to market this. So it makes it, another. Just think of it like this: just from a frozen shoulder standpoint. If I can show somebody how to do that and just pick a low number, $4,000, and you close 2 patients a month, I mean, you're looking at another almost $100,000 a month just by knowing how to solve one problem. And you see the patient twice, and you spend a total of 4 minutes with them when they come in for their treatment, twice, so 8 minutes. Okay, I'm in Mississippi, and I know, Mark, you're in Oregon, but I'm sure those numbers somehow would add up even in Oregon. But again, those are low numbers. Those are realistic numbers that anybody can do. This is not some kind of pie in the sky. Because here's the reality: here's what I hear from doctors that don't think properly. I don't know I don't deal with insurance. I don't take insurance, but I'm fairly confident that most people, their deductible is probably somewhere between 25 and 35. A guy I play racquetball with, his deductible is $5,000 because he was talking about it one day. So let's just use him. I don't know what the national average is, but no matter who he sees, if he had a frozen shoulder, he's going to have to pay $5,000 out of pocket, no matter who he sees. So he might as well come see me and let's get it fixed and be done with it. Okay, or he can do what now?
Or get his money back.
Yeah, absolutely. If I can't help you, and let's just think of it like this. You have a person who has a frozen shoulder, and they've had this frozen shoulder for 2 years, which again is a conservative number. Some of these people have had them for 10 years or longer. And let's just lowball the deductible. Let's lowball it to $2,500. So that means that somebody's going to have to pay $2,500 to some practitioner before their insurance kicks in. And this person has had this frozen shoulder for 10 years. So what that means in English, they spend out of pocket $25,000. So you mean to tell me that they've lost 10 years of their life and spent $25,000 and they can't pay me $5,250 to solve this problem in 2 visits and be done with it? Okay. And that's the way I communicate with people, because sometimes people hear that number and they go, well, I can't afford that. And it's like, you've paid 5 times that amount of money and look where it's gotten you. So right. See, that's the way, and I teach doctors how to communicate that. Somebody comes in with knee pain, and again, use the same number, $2,500, and they've had knee pain for 7 years. They spent almost $18,000 out of pocket to see a doctor who hasn't done squat, hasn't done a thing for them. And then our policy is that if we don't see results in 2 visits with your knee, we don't accept you for care. Now, the difference with knee is, since we're walking and it's a weight-bearing joint, you're going to have to see them more than 2 times. But the point is, we're going to rule them in or rule them out. And the reality of it is, a high 90 percentile, more than 90%, are going to see results in 1 visit. And you know what the beautiful thing about that is? We can rule them in or rule them out. And if I can't help you, we did everything we could possibly do, and you're just not a candidate for this program. So,
Wow.
and
What
then,
would you say to what would you say to the doctors that are thinking right now, I can't charge that much? I mean, I'm
okay,
so used to
well,
charging this little. I mean, it's a
yeah,
different mindset, man, correct?
it is, it's a different mindset, and it's one of the things that I do at my seminars to train doctors on how to get beyond that. And the thing is, trust me when I tell you this, you are actually doing a person a favor by charging them $4,000 to $5,000, because, like I said, if you're taking insurance, they got to pay somebody $5,000, and you know what? If they go to other doctors, they're going to get steroid shots. They're
You
going
see,
to, yeah, and they're going to get painkillers. Nothing is going to solve the problem. And next year they're going to have to pay $5,000 to do it all over again. Next year they're going to pay $5,000 to do it all over again.
cycle.
We're at 15,000 now. You know, they've done this for 3 years, and they can come in to see you and pay the money for their knee and be done with it.
Hey, with you, they could have got a full body transplant. I'm playing.
but again, what I'm doing is I'm trying to train doctors to, you know, to charge a professional fee. And
Exactly.
think about it like this. Let's just keep the numbers simple. My fees are not this low. I'm in Mississippi, so just take that for what it's worth. Okay, to let you know that it's all up here, because if I'm charging these kind of fees in Mississippi, everyone should be charging these fees. But I don't even charge this low a fee. But let's just use $4,000 again, okay, or $4,500 or whatever we charge before. Somebody, so you close 2 patients a month for $4,000 frozen shoulder, all right, and then you do an ad and you close 2 knee pain patients for $4,000. Okay, so now we've taken 2 conditions that you've learned how to master, frozen shoulder and knee, and now you're able to collect $16,000 a month just on 4 patients. These are realistic numbers. I mean, and I've got more than that. I know this is coronavirus time, and right now we're not closing that kind of patient. But the point is, before all this went on, I mean, we would close that number of patients by Tuesday sometimes. Okay, so the point is, if you're collecting X, let's just say the doctor's already collecting, say, $80,000 a month, and now we have another 2 systems or 2 symptoms that we're going to work on: frozen shoulder and knee pain, and you're able to close 4 patients and add 16. Now you went from $80,000 to $96,000, and all you did was close 4 patients that month, $16,000. And so again, it's look at it from a standpoint of you're doing the patient a service, and you're doing them a disservice if you don't learn this, because you're the guy that or gal where all the craziness in their life stops, because they're no longer going to have to keep getting steroid shots, all these painkillers, and you're able to say, yes, if I can help you, we're going to know in 2 visits. And I have a specific, again, protocol that we go through, and I have to train doctors, especially with the knee, that, and I know this may sound weird, but they'd have to see it, but if you do too much on the first visit, they actually won't pay you, because they feel so good with the knee that they won't come back. I know human beings are a very weird species of animal. You know, we will destroy our life almost completely, and then say, I need somebody to fix this, instead of, you don't see a dog that goes out and, my dog doesn't go out and go, man, I'm just going to destroy my life, and then you're going to fix it. But human beings are just, I don't know, we're just weird species of animals that will just destroy our life and expect that quickly that to be fixed. And the beautiful thing about cryogenics is it's almost microwavable, meaning that almost, and I'm using the term almost, no matter how degenerated a patient is, that when you activate these muscle spindles and these go to tendon organs in a specific manner, you get this increased mobility and decreased pain. And so it's just a process. And trust me, again, when I tell you this, you go in and you charge $50 to fix somebody's shoulder, and you keep doing that. After a while, you're like, I'm not doing that again, because you came to Tupelo, you spent a weekend, and you need to charge for results, and that's what we do. And so So anyway, oh, and by the way, I went the long way around the barn. We do cervical, shoulder, elbow, and hand. Hand being hand numbness. That's one seminar. And then the next seminar, which I actually got finished with I believe about 2 weeks ago, is our lower, which is our low back, hip, knee, and foot. And when we're talking about foot, we're talking about plantar fasciitis and peripheral neuropathy. So there's two other niches that, I mean, again, you charge just a nominal fee, $4,000 for peripheral neuropathy, or $4,000. Now you got four niches that you're charging $4,000 for. And I mean, again, people shouldn't even be charging that low a fee, because I mean, again, they're going to all these doctors that can help them, and trust me, they're charging them more than that, and they can't get help. So if you're helping people, you might as well charge for it.
No, definitely. And, just speaking of someone that's been to many of your conferences, doctors, I just want to let you know that when you go to Dr. Barlow's conference, he's just not a regular doctor where he's just teaching you how to, heal frozen shoulder and knee pain. One of the most exciting things that I learned from him, and I'm learning from Dr. Barlow, is that he teaches you about you are an investment. Your business is an investment. And when you are treating these people, that's an investment to them. And Dr. Barlow not only teaches you these things, but he also goes into the mindset, because half of this is your mindset on how you charge these people. And not only that, he also teaches you, from what I've learned, is how to close on a lot of these things. And I love how you talk about that, because a lot of doctors say, well, I don't want to be a salesman. I don't want anything. No. You need to know how to close.
Yeah, well,
and you talk about that,
yeah.
and I love it.
Well, here's the thing. Everybody's a salesman, okay? Like, for example, I'm talking directly to the doctor. If this weekend you've got this movie that you just want to see, okay, you're going to have to sell your spouse on the fact that she needs to leave the house and get ready and go to the movie, or she's either going to sell you that you're going to stay at home, okay? You're going out to dinner. Like, I'll just use two of the places here in Tupelo. Let's say I want to go to Kermit's Outlaw Kitchen, which, Mark, you know what I'm talking about. And my wife says, no, I want to go to Woody's. Somebody's about to make a sale. Okay. Now, here's the difference too. If somebody comes into my clinic and I tell them that they have frozen shoulder, and this is important, doctors, for you to understand this. Somebody is going to make the sale when you go into the report of finding. You're either going to sell them on the fact that you can deliver and do what you say you're going to do. Are they going to sell you on, no, you're not, they don't have the money, so who's going to make the sale? But somebody will be sold. They're either going to believe in you or you're going to believe in them. You're going to, but the point is, and so we're selling every day of our life. We're selling something. You're selling to your kids. You're either selling to your kid or your kid's selling to you. You're selling them that they need to study, or they're selling you that now they need to watch TV or be on the computer. So somebody's going to make a sale. So that whole salesmanship, and the reality of it is, in the United States, in a free enterprise system, nothing happens until somebody sells something. Okay. And, my wife likes nice things, and like most women, they like nice things. So in order for them to have those nice things, somebody's got to sell something. So you can either sell them on, we're going to get this shoulder fixed in 2 visits, or I'm not going to accept your Picator, or they're going to go somewhere else and they're going to be in this perpetual cycle of misery for the rest of their life. So which one sounds better? Let's get it fixed in 2 visits, or let's spend the next 10, 20 years of our life walking around like this, and your cerebellum and your brain degenerating on that, the cerebellum on this side and brain on this side degenerating. So again, I think you're doing a patient a disservice having this tool and this repertoire of knowledge and not being able to close them and communicating to them effectively.
Awesome. What would you say to a doctor right now that's maybe kind of on the fence and really not sure, because he's so used to just doing the $149
All right. So here's what I would say. uh, is if you as a chiropractor, okay, if you had a frozen shoulder and you can only pick your arm up this far, okay, and you're trying to do a treatment, or if you're a golfer, or if you're playing racquetball, or you play pickleball, or or whatever sports you would like to do, how much would it be worth to you in 2 visits to be able to do this? Okay. And whatever that number is, if you have a frozen shoulder, you know, you decide on that number, because I couldn't tell you how many people have been in my clinic that before they came in, uh, gave up playing tennis, gave up playing golf, gave up. I mean, I had people just, I'll give you an example. The very first person that I ever fixed that paid me, remember, we went through 3 rounds of people coming in. And so the first one that ever paid me, got a video of him. Comes in, got a frozen shoulder. His daughter-in-law is a nurse practitioner, and this happened 6 years ago. So, give you a long story short, hopefully, what happened is we're in Mississippi. There's a lot of cattle here. So it was raining one day. He had his rubber boots on in the mud, and a bull had turned around on him, and he goes to reach up to grab the plank to pull himself up. And what happened? His boot got sucked in the mud, and the bull hit him. Okay, and that screwed his shoulder up. So, and goes in, nurse practitioner looked at him. Yep, nothing can be done. Went to another nurse practitioner. Yep, nothing can be done. So, he's got 2 unqualified people. What I mean by that is the nurse practitioner. I love nurse practitioners. I know a lot of them personally. I've got family that are nurse practitioners, but they're not experts in being able to solve these problems. Okay. And a matter of fact, there probably had been one nurse practitioner that ever fixed a frozen shoulder. I don't know, but that's not what they specialize in.
Right.
And they're beautiful people. I'm not, again, you ask the wrong person the wrong question, you're going to get the wrong answer. 6 years, this man suffered with frozen shoulder. Gave up his golfing, gave up everything. Okay. Comes in, and 1 visit, full range of motion. Okay. And just his wife, I mean, the patient in here couldn't believe it. I mean, it was just a whole like, oh my God, I can't. Nobody acts like that in here anymore. But when you do it for the first time in that arena, it's kind of shocking to people. But my point is that the doctor has to come up, and I'll train them how to do this. But again, it's you just have to come up with a fair fee. Whatever number you think it is, it's probably too low. And I can show you where I started and then where I am. But again, when you get results, that's worth something, because these people have spent tens of thousands of dollars getting 0 results. But I promise you, when people say I've had this problem for 10 years, and just ask them this question and say, I want you to be honest with me and tell me, how much do you think you've actually spent out of pocket financially? Okay. And then, how much has it cost you in pain, misery, and suffering? Well, I have a number for knee pain, is because lawyers have actually figured this one out. It's about $361,000 is the pain and suffering for 1 knee.
Wow.
So people can look that up. It's the disability, or I forget exactly how I looked it up, but just the cost of disability on 1 knee. And if the numbers are correct, it's like $361,000. So, if you charge $5,000, $6,000 per knee, and this person gets their life, I mean, I couldn't tell you how many people have come in and, they spent, $13,000 on motorcycles, and then we got 2 of them sitting in the garage. That equates to Mississippi to $26,000 worth of motorcycles. So I'll ask the doctors listening to this: how do people afford $26,000 worth of motorcycles that they can't ride anymore because they have busted up knees? Okay. And then you're able to help improve the quality of their life. And now, guess what? They can ride their motorcycles again.
Exactly.
And they got 2 motorcycles, one for the man, one for the wife, and the man can't ride anymore because he got busted up knees. And now his wife didn't want to ride with him, which means they can't enjoy the quality of their life together. And they can't do the things that they enjoy to do. And they got these motorcycles there that's just sitting there, collecting dust. So people have the time and people have the money to do what's important to them. And if walking again without pain is important, they're going to pay for that.
Wow. I have a one big question. Actually, the last question to ask you would be, and I love how you ask it. So let's just pretend I am a patient or soon to be a patient. What are some of the questions that you ask me? And I call, for me on my end, I always call them small tie downs so that the people are answering about the pain that they're going
Okay.
through.
All right. So this is, let's just go through this. So just, and I may have to retrain doctors on how to do this, but let's just go through. We'll go with the simple one, is the shoulder. Okay. And I would just say, Mark, how long have you had this shoulder problem?
I'm just saying
And then
5 years.
5 years. Okay. And then I would say, tell me about your first car wreck you ever had. Okay.
I'm just
Now,
gonna go. I'm just gonna role play. Okay.
yeah.
Gonna role play. The first car wreck I had was I basically got hit rear end at a crossroad section
Okay.
up in New York, and I remember that when I woke up, I couldn't even move my shoulder, and that's when I started having these shoulder problems. I can barely move it up right now, but until then, that's how it all started.
Okay. And then how long ago was that again?
That was 5 years ago.
Okay. So again, see, at that point, just as a side note, he's had the problem for 5 years. And then the next thing I would want to know, so let me make sure we got this right. You had a car wreck 5 years ago. You've had a shoulder problem ever since then. And then tell me what can you describe the pain? What is it? If you were to, is it dull? Is it achy? Is it sharp? Is it, what would that?
I would say I mean, I know you didn't ask me, but I would say from 1 to 10, I would say it's about a 9+, but very, very sharp as soon as I lift it up.
Okay, so it's sharp. Now, one of the things as a side note, the reason I would ask the patient about their car wreck is because C5 nerve is the most susceptible to trauma. Okay, football injuries, and so C5 controls all the muscles in your shoulder except for 3 of those. So if we have a shoulder problem, I'm trying to link some type of trauma possibly into the cervical spine that's causing this. Because again, here's the difference in what I would do than what most doctors do. And this is, the research shows that if you have trauma in your spine with a damaged C5 and you have this shoulder bad, 50% of the patients within 5 years means this shoulder is going to be at frozen as well. So you're in that time frame where half the people that have that are going to have bilateral or right and left shoulder problems. So what are we able to do to make this better? If you do this, it will seem like it makes it better. Is there anything? Like you may take, you may have put it on ice. You may be a heating pad. You may take ibuprofen, Tylenol. You may have had a steroid shot.
Ibuprofen's my friend, and then of course I get shots for numbness at the doctor.
Okay. All right. And then what is it that makes it worse if you do this? What's going to provoke the pain?
What do you mean by that?
Like if you move it, you reach for something. What is it? Anything that you do that would make it more painful?
It's anything I do. So I just use my left. So this has basically become just dead. I don't use it for anything. I don't want no pain.
All right. And then what concerns me there, Mark, is this is what I tell them is what concerns me on that is this shoulder not moving properly is going to have a negative impact on the left side of your brain, which means your left brain is literally shrinking because of this damage here. Now, all right. So how many doctors have you seen up to this point? Now, this is a critical point with patients right here. Is how many doctors have you seen?
I've seen about 7 because I really want to get the pain out of the way, but nothing's really working. I wanted to do major surgery, and I don't have $150,000 to do surgery.
Right. And so you've seen 7 doctors in 5 years, and tell me what kind of results have you gotten?
I got a couple bills.
Okay. But no improvement. Now, see those are 2 important questions because I need to know how many doctors they've seen, and see, it's a rhetorical question because I already know the answer is no results or minimal results because they're in my clinic. Okay, but that you have to say that has to come out of your mouth that I've been to X number of doctors and I've gotten no results, because if there's any objections that come up, we're going to go back to that. Okay, like I got to think about it, or okay, okay, we'll get to that in just a minute. All right, on a scale of 1 to 10, you said that this was a 9.5.
Right.
Okay. All right. So tell me this, what number do we need to get this shoulder pain down to for this to be a successful outcome and for you to be happy with the results here?
If I can get at least a 3 and I can actually move my arm up like my left, I'd be happy.
All right. All right. So this is an important question for the patient and more for the doctor, because for some reason when I see chiropractors, they act like anything less than out of pain is they're a loser. Okay. And that's just an unrealistic expectation. Especially, I don't see acute patients. I see only chronically ill people. Okay. So for these people to think that they're ever going to be 100% out of pain, for most of them is an unrealistic expectation. So what we have to do is we have to manage the patient's expectation. Because if you tell me I don't care who you are. I don't care if you twisted your ankle yesterday, which doesn't happen in this clinic, but I'm just saying, I don't see those patients. But if somebody came in, that I twisted my ankle yesterday, it's a 9 today, and I want to be pain-free, I would say, Mark, I would like for you to be pain-free as well, but we need a realistic expectation here. And if you tell me that anything less than being pain-free you're not going to be happy with, this is going to be a short-term relationship. Because what people are asking you to do is every time you step up to the plate is hit a home run, and that's just not going to happen. Are we going to hit home runs? Absolutely, but not every time we walk up to the plate. Okay, so back to this. Managing the patient's expectations. 3 is very doable. Okay, so typically when you ask a patient that, here's going to be the answer. Any improvement I'll be happy with, and the typical number is 3 or 4. That's the typical number. All right, so we went through several things in the questionnaire. Number 1, how long is the problem been going on? Okay, and then the reason I want to know that is because during the process of that, if you take insurance, you're already going to know what the patient's deductible is. I don't even take insurance. So during the process of things, I would say, do you have any idea what your deductible is? And he's going to say, just say $3,000. Right. So I know that the person's already spent $15,000 out of pocket, and you got co-payments and all that stuff. Okay. So now we go into the report of finding, and I tell the patient, here's your x-ray, this is your neck, this is your shoulder, and then Mark, here's the way we're going to do this. The results, when you have frozen shoulder, that we guarantee results in 2 visits, or we don't accept the patient for care, which means we're going to do a specific protocol today called trigenics. You'll pay me up front, and then if we do not get results in 2 visits, I will give you a complete refund. That program is $5,250. That's $5,250. And then you're going to say, let's get it done. Or you're going to say, I got to think about it. Or you're going to say, that's a lot of money. And I'll say,
go with it. Let me, I'm going to think about it. I need to go talk to my, a good friend of mine that's had, his shoulder worked on, and he didn't get better, but I'd like to talk to him.
Right. And this is where this, and I'm glad you brought that one up first, because I would say, Mark, the first thing I want to do is I want to apologize to you right now. And here's the reason why. I've dropped the ball somewhere, because you've had this problem for 5 years. Okay. You spent $15,000 out of pocket.
You're going over.
Yeah, I'm guaranteeing that I'm going to get results in 2 visits, or I'm going to give you a full refund. So again, I apologize because I didn't explain something clearly. So please tell me where, what it is that I failed you on. And see, what you're going to do is because if the patient leaves, they're hardly ever going to come back. Do they come back? Yeah, sometimes. But see how I did that is I apologize because I failed you somewhere. You've had this problem for 5 years. You've already spent $15,000 out of pocket. Okay. We're going to get results in 2 visits. I'm going to give you a full refund. So tell me where I failed you in this process.
You really can't. Okay, I have to just stop right here. So, doctor, I've been doing sales all my life since I was a kid. Selling eggs sounds funny, but what he's doing is he lets them talk about it, which those are called small closes. So they're basically closed themselves. And now Dr. Barlow is reiterating everything that they said. So, and then he's saying, I don't fix you, get your money back.
Yep.
So in a way, I'm just saying, I'm just kind of throwing that out there. I think it's genius, because It's funny, you're talking to me and I know we're role playing, but it's funny, I almost got so much into the role, I'm like, no, I'll take you right now.
Yeah. Well, again, see what you're doing. When you tell somebody, okay, that you apologize, that you failed them at some level, it's almost like they almost come in and save you. You know, and and it's because it's all, the whole thing is the way you wrap the package up. Because if this person leaves out of here, their shoulder's not going to get fixed. They've already been to 7 doctors. Okay, they're going to continue to suffer. Their brain's going to continue to degenerate. So who benefits by this person leaving? Okay, nobody does. That person doesn't benefit because they're not going to get their shoulder fixed. I don't benefit because I don't get to put money in the bank. And you know what? It's not like we're ripping anybody off, because if we don't get the results, they just get a full refund. And so let's say all right, let's go through. And so you did I got to think about it. So let's go through. Ooh, doc, that's a lot of money.
A lot of money.
All right, so Mark, the way we set this up in our program is we have a cryogenic procedure. And the way we set this up is we guarantee results in 2 visits, or we don't accept you for care. You'll pay us up front. If we don't get results in 2 visits, I'll give you a full refund. That's $5,250.
It sounds pretty fair to me.
Well, you're supposed to say that's a lot of money.
I know. Okay,
you're not role playing, man.
Hold on.
Okay.
You know what? It sounds like a lot of money.
Okay.
I think that I can. Do you guys have any credit where maybe?
Yeah. We do have a credit program, and I'll agree with you. That's a lot of money. But let me ask you this, okay? You've had this problem for 5 years. How much have you already spent out of pocket, and you've gotten 0 results with 7 doctors?
Spent about $22,000 already out of my pocket.
All right.
And
how much?
I'm scared to pull the trigger, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Okay. And obviously they didn't give you a refund. They didn't help you, and you didn't get a refund. In here, it's $5,250. And if we don't get results in 2 visits, give you a full refund. When would you like to get started?
Next week.
And they're going to say today. They're going to say today. Okay. All right. Same situation with knee. Okay. And people have to understand that when you're dealing with chronically ill patients, they've already spent more out of pocket than what your fee is. Okay. And that's why I only see chronically ill people. I do stem cell therapy as well. And I had one guy who had knee pain for 40 years. Well, let that sink in for just a second. 40, I don't even know what the number that'd be. I mean, you're looking at somebody with 40 years knee pain. If his deductible was $3,000, he'd already dropped $120,000 out of pocket. Okay. And this is what I want. And this should have been a light bulb that came on for most doctors when I said that, is whatever your fee is, if you do chronically ill patients, they've already paid more than that out of pocket. Okay. By the time they see you, and it's your job to convey that message to them,
Mm-hmm.
And if we get results with cryogenics in 2 visits, we will continue with with frozen shoulders. You come home, exercise, and you're done with them. But with knee pain, we do certain procedures, but still, you will see results in 2 visits, or we won't accept you as a patient.
Love it.
So it can't be any easier. And there's no that I'm aware of. There might be one out there, but I'm not aware of any neurological treatment system, anything that somebody might call a technique that can do that. So why would a doctor not want to make his life easier? Why would you not want to have a system where you can you only take people that you can help? I mean, and you know what? It is amazing when you tell somebody, and again, it doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen. When you can't help somebody, and guess what happens? That person refers more people in than you actually help, because they'll tell you that if he can't help you, he's going to tell you.
That's huge. Okay. That's a great marketing.
Yeah. And see, that's kind of a marketing thing that I just accidentally fell into, that was a side effect of telling people when you couldn't help them, I can't help you, and then they start telling people, it's like, man, he's going to try 2 visits. If he can't help you, he won't take you to the patient, So, and again, we were able to do that with low back, hip, knee, foot, plantar fasciitis. Now, again, we specialize in the 2 visits with shoulders and knees. when you're dealing with peripheral neuropathy, that's a 3-foot nerve. It's myelinated, so there's a lot of things going on with your peripheral nervous system into the foot. Plantar fasciitis, if you know what, all of these are easier because there's entrapment syndromes with all these as well. Plus, there's some blood sugar issues that go on and those inflammation. So, but the closer you get to the foot, the more money you're going to make, because there's just something about people wanting to walk that when they can't walk and you can help them with that, they're willing to pay for it.
Oh yeah, I know I would. Wow. So we discussed a lot today, especially on this topic. So doctors and Dr. Andy Barlow, thank you so much for being
Absolutely.
on the show. And doctors, I just want to say, call Dr. Andy Barlow.
Yep.
Has the cell phone on there, so he's open. And I'm excited to helping as many doctors get the word out. I remember when I first saw it with my eyes, I was just like, this is unbelievable. I mean, I was like, in my head, I'm like, I can package this. And I'm not even a doctor. I'm like, oh my God, my head's blowing up. Because I've gone to, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7, maybe 8 seminars of yours. And it's funny, every time I'm there, I'm watching very carefully because I'm over here. I count my family out, and I'm not even. I'm like learning.
Yeah, trying to figure out what to do. I've had people, vendors and stuff, come to my seminars, and one guy, he had bilateral frozen shoulder for most of his life, and he was like, after I fixed his shoulder, he actually, it was like, okay, I thought all of this was smoke and mirrors, to be honest with you, and and he was, when he was watching it, he was just like, man, there's just no way that can happen. And the guy had never picked his arms up. I've had a few people that's never been beyond this point their whole life, and then you fix their shoulders, and it's just like they just cannot believe it, And I'm like, so you never reached up to get a paper towel or toilet paper up on the top shelf, and how do you do So, but anyway, so I understand where doctors are. Sometimes I guess it's hard to believe that it's true. Just go. Mark's going to put up some videos. You can see before and after. You can call Mark. He's been to the seminars. He's seen the people. The doctor just like, man, I just can't believe this. And so.
Oh yeah. So what we'll do is I'm going to have 2 types of testimonials at the end. We're going to have doctors that are just amazed, going to afniseminars.com and also .net. And we're going to also have some people that have had 30, 40 years. They weren't able to raise their hand, and now they're doing the Karate Kid. No joke. But again, thank you so much, Dr. Andy Barlow.
Absolutely.
And sharing is caring. Also, to share this video to your colleagues, your doctors, because we're about not only just getting the video out there, but this is about changing lives.
Absolutely,
and our focus on helping as many people as possible, especially in times like this, doctors. If you're struggling right now because your practice is maybe having a hard time, this is going to help your practice 10x, literally 10x your entire business. And I'm not just saying that. These are doctors that I've personally met, had lunch and dinner with, and they're telling me how they took their practice from this amount to now they're on a whole different level. But anyways, thank you guys so much. God bless you all. And again, thank you, Dr. Andy Barlow.
Thank you, Bart.